Hi, everybody. Celia Waterhouse here. Thank you so much for joining us here at OnPoint Mentors. Today we have Paul Campbell. He is a father, a businessman, an activist whose purpose in life is serving others, especially the underprivileged, because of systems that we don't have to accept. Paul, welcome.
Thank you for having me on here, Sylvia.
Thanks for joining us.
That's a mouthful to read. I probably need to work on that a little bit, but thank you for saying that.
No, I loved it. I loved it. It says so much about who you are, which is why I'm so interested to hear what advice you have to give. So today I'm just going to ask you the one question.
Okay.
So if you could share one piece of advice on how you help your clients manage their emotions in this divisive world, what would it be?
Don't try to manage their emotions. I would say would probably be my advice to my clients and customers. So I work in the energy business. That's one of my businesses. Probably the main one I focus on is an energy business.
Right.
And so our customers are other businesses that move oil and gas all over the planet. So that's who we serve. So when I'm talking to them and it's in a divisive place, what I always like to focus on are what's core at the disagreements, especially with customers.
Right.
And I do not believe in the term "the customer is always right." I think that is stale thinking. You don't want to tell a customer that they're wrong and that's it, but you may want to inform a customer of way maybe their decision is poor and moving on. And so sometimes that causes conflict. So, we have a philosophy in the company here that we just don't let any major disagreements, go unspoken. And so we talk about what rumors are out there. And so that philosophy within our company spreads out within our customers and our vendors and everyone. So it's not just with our clients and customers. So I'll probably talk more about what we do internally than I do with my customers, just because of the nature of the customer that we have. But it all shares and it feeds over there. So when we have a disagreement internally, and we don't have a divisive culture, and there's ways to prevent that, and we do. But we do have disagreements, and there's three things that I work on actively every day to ensure that people feel these three things in our company. One, they feel cared for. So yesterday, as an example, I sent all the top management in the company a group text, and I asked them to reach out to someone today and tell them something specific that they appreciated about them, and that would be the only reason they reached out to them. And it could be a peer or somebody on their team, and that was they had to get back to me in that group text or to us, and then they had to talk about how they made them feel, and it was this amazing experience. And these are really good leaders, but it was just like, oh yes, I do appreciate these people. I do. And they loved it. Like, it made them feel so good to be able to share their appreciation. So you've got to do, and that's not just, you've got to do 100 things like that.
Right.
And you've got to be intentional about it, and you got to be thinking about it, and you got to tell people that you really do care about them. And more importantly, you have to care about them. Right. You're not going to have, in my opinion, an organization that thrives anymore unless you are focused on the people in that organization and that you truly care about their well-being, both at work, if that's what it is, or at their house. Those days of you're a number are gone. And if you don't get that right now, you're so far behind. The second thing is you got to feel safe. In our industry, safety is huge because it's a very dangerous industry. So we start every meeting, and it is not unusual for oil and gas companies, but we start every meeting with a safety moment. We're not always good about that, but we're getting better. But it's also about emotional safety and knowing that, yes, we're going to disagree sometimes, but I know you always have my back. And that if we have a disagreement, I'm going to be the first person to hear about it, more than likely. And there's exceptions to that because I may go and talk to somebody and get some coaching before I come talk to Celia because I'm really upset and I don't want it to go wrong because I care about Celia, but I'm ticked at her, right? So you gotta do some work, right? These are very important things and can be very fragile, and you got to treat them that way. And then the third thing, and I have not been able to figure out a way to do this without all three, and I don't need to have a reason because I like them. But the third thing is accountability. And so accountability is so easy when people feel safe and cared for. I've seen it, as you know, I've built a school, pre-K through 12. I founded it and been part of launching it. We're in year 3 and it's doing these amazing things. And I've learned so much from it. The words coming out of my mouth right now are because of that experience that took me through this. So it's not just running a company, but it's also building and helping launch a phenomenal school for 300 kids out in the middle of nowhere, Oklahoma. So I've learned all that. And now I'm instituting it in every organization that I'm a part of or trying to, especially those ones I lead. But the accountability piece is, it's okay for somebody to walk in. Here's a simple example. We're in a room of 6 people, and starting meetings on time is really important to me. And I'm getting better at, I used to be like weird about it, but now I'm getting better, more relaxed about it. But sometimes it's important that we start a meeting on time. And so it's okay if, Isaac walks in, and if Isaac ever sees this video, he's going to laugh, but Isaac walks in 3 minutes late, and it's like the 6th time he's walked in. It's okay for me to stop the meeting and go, Isaac, don't be late. Like, this is really, this ticks me off, and everybody will have your reaction. Everybody will laugh. They know I'm upset, right? And Isaac's like, oh God, and he changes his behavior. It never gets to the 6th time because we have the conversation the 2nd time, but it's a simple example, but it's like, it's almost like you don't even have to have a filter anymore when people feel cared and safe. And the days of having those filters and masks, I think we're seeing, to me, people are craving that those are gone, especially with the influence of social media and just media in general have created so many zombies out there.
Right.
That if you create an organization of people that, okay, I get that there's the far left and the far right, if you want to look at it from that prism, I get that. But some people are really weird from my perspective that get so blinded by some of that. And I know that's where divisiveness within our society comes from. And man, it's getting more and more polarized. But I do believe I know that there is this pent up craving for some authenticity. And I feel like I'm in the catbird seat personally, that I'm bringing my little bit of it to a really traditionally macho industry that needs it really bad and desperately. So
I love this conversation. It's such a short interview we have. Maybe we could take it longer because there's so much to talk about. The authentic communications and lack of filters and things like that. Because how else are you going to learn what other people value and feel, right?
That's right. Yeah, and then it also feels amazing to connect with people.
Right, and that's the word, connect. And
Yeah.
you can't connect unless you can communicate authentically.
Yeah, people
right?
feel it. People can't say like, oh, Celia has a mask on. They won't say those words, but they'll catch themselves. They'll limit themselves because
Right.
you're limiting yourself.
Right.
And if you can create a space where people are like, I literally had a conversation with an employee yesterday about you're doing an amazing job and you're doing better at taking all your masks off. Like, we talk about this person's mask. Like, they got to go. So what are you doing about it? So they're off getting help and trying to figure it out. But I'm like, it's just not gonna work here, okay? And I like you a lot, and I think you do a great job, and I think you're capable of letting go, and you're gonna love yourself so much more.
Right.
But you got to do the work.
Paul, your words are so wise, and I really appreciate your authenticity and your transparency, especially from you are a CEO. You have been a CEO of many companies, not just the one you're in now. You are involved with a lot of the community projects that I think are going to go far with the way you approach your philosophy of approaching some of the larger problems we have in life. So I want to take those conversations a little further at another time and maybe talk more and get more in depth about the topics.
Cool.
Great, Paul. Thanks for joining us.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.